We are recording. Hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Penda James, and I want to welcome you to the Resilience Project. This is an opportunity for me to get to know leaders and their stories and to understand how they have been resilient. Our goal is to create a toolkit for leaders and to get a minimum of 100 declarations for women and men who are in leadership. Just to tell you a little bit about me, if you came here to see Tesha and not me, I am a scribe coach. And what I do is I assist people who are in transition, leaders who are in transition, to get unstuck, execute their goals, and inscribe their legacy. Today, I am deeply, deeply honored to introduce you to Tesha Lowrey. Now, I met her about a year and a half ago because she sent me an email. We went to the same university, the great Wilberforce University, and we connected through our local alumni chapter here. And so I feel like I've known her forever. She is the CEO, let me get it right, of Lowrey Staffing, and they focus on legal accounting, finance, IT, and virtual assistants. So she'll tell you how to get connected with her. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's studious, she's a believer. I mean, I could just go down the list, but I'm gonna let her tell you more about her. So Tesha, is there something that I did not say that you want people who are watching or listening to know?
Well, everything that you said was perfect, right, spot on. And also, in my spare time, of course, I like to spend time with my family. And then I play golf. I like to play golf. I love it. And just giving back to our university. As you mentioned, we both are graduates of Wilberforce. And what I do a lot of times also in my spare time is recruit for the school. So because we're in COVID right now, we can't be out in person at college fairs. So I give my time by recruiting virtually.
That is an amazing job. I mean, for us to tell other people about our experience at Wilberforce is really the best way that new and potential students will learn about us. So I'm so grateful to know you in that regard, and I support whatever you do out there in these recruitment streets. So today our declaration that you decided on is, I am a leader who develops leaders. So could you give us, in your own words, what it means to be a person who develop leaders? How would you define that?
Well, first, Penda, I would say a leader is someone who they see something that needs to be improved, right? And what they do is they rally a group of people, or they rally, or it could be an individual um, together towards meeting that common goal. So if it's, you're working with a team of people, then that person is rallying them. Hey, this is, the vision, and this is what we want to have achieved. And so you rally them to help complete that. Or if it's an individual, because a leader could also be in a relationship as a mentor mentee.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping and pushing and motivating that person to achieve their goal or whatever it is that they're looking to accomplish.
I think that's an awesome definition. Can you now talk to us about how developing leaders has been a thread throughout your life?
So I would say that all started as a young girl in high school. I'm from Flint, Michigan originally. And, I started working when I was 16 years old and have been working ever since. And I've been blessed to have had some great leaders in my life that helped develop me into who I am. And so always had, role models or mentors that I could look up to. Um, I remember working at a law firm when I was a senior in high school, and that job continued even throughout my years at Wilberforce. I would come back home and work there, and um, it was just awesome. This attorney who I still keep in contact with today was like a second dad to me. And he always said, I interviewed you, Tesha, and he said, the reason why I selected you, here you are, a high school student, over these other adults was because you sent a thank you letter.
Wow.
And I didn't know that a thank you letter would, be that important. And, here I was 16 years old and sent that thank you letter. And he told me, he said, I had all these other adults that I interviewed with, but they didn't bother to do that. And so he always told me, he said, as I reached down to, I put my hand out to help you. It's your job to always stretch your hand out to pull somebody else up and to help them. And so that stuck with me, as a kid. And I even live by that today. Was also blessed to have been placed in several leadership roles, in my 20s, living in New York City, and had never managed people before, Penda, and was put in a role as an assistant director. And I think I was probably about 24 years old and literally ran a alternative school. It was a out of school youth program, and I had to recruit students who were put out of New York City public schools into this program. And so, the goals that we had was that they would, either earn their high school diploma. So we did have teachers that were teaching them, mathematics, science, English, and so forth. Or, they took the GED. And then what we did was we took them on college tours
Oh,
uh,
wow.
once a month. So that leadership role, and that was just, I felt like that was an impactful job. And um, I have one of the students from that program that still keeps in contact. Um, and so, yeah, did that, left there and was promoted to run another program in New York City under the same model with these out of school youth children. And then we also had a component for aging, I don't know how to put it, foster care
Okay,
youth
foster
that
care.
were pretty much aging out of the system.
Yes.
And so did that, ran that. It was so rewarding. Um, and then here I am even now. I've always been in situations or positions where I helped other people to grow and develop.
Hmm.
And I like doing that because I feel like as a leader, if you're not helping someone else to be their better self, then you're really doing a disservice. Like, what are you doing? That's what a true leader to me, they help to develop the next generation of leaders. Um, leaders also help to bring out things that person, you may not see that in yourself. I remember going to Wilberforce freshman year and was afraid to speak in front of people
Really?
and had to take public
Public
speaking.
speaking.
And that brought me out of my shell. I was so nervous up there reading my paper. And after that, Penda, every job that I've ever had, I had to give presentations in front of, 50 to 100 or more people. So
Wow. I mean,
that is
as a recruiter, you're speaking, so I always can just imagine you on a big stage, like talking to people. So just a tidbit for leaders: if you are nervous about public speaking, join Toastmasters. It'll help you, because I mean, I say so, in a lot of these filler words, and to be in the environment where everybody's kind of working on developing their speaking skills is helpful. So if you ever have time, that'll help you to get over that hump. And it's
definitely.
good networking too. I I I hear a common thread of you being a person who's been developing leaders like since you were 16 years old. I think that's such a powerful calling on your life. And so now you've created an opportunity with your business where you are doing that on another level. So can you talk a little bit about how you are currently developing leaders?
Absolutely. So, um, even now, I spend my days interviewing candidates, just people from various backgrounds, whether it's the legal background, and that could range from attorneys to paralegals, legal assistants, to the accounting and finance piece, where, speaking with CPAs and controllers and C-suite level people, as well as people on the administrative level. So I help prepare them for interviews that they're going to have with our clients, because what we do essentially as recruiters is that we are actually vetting the person for this company or organization. And
Okay.
so a lot of times I get people, one on one, where we're having a virtual interview because of COVID.
Yes.
So we're interviewing as you and I are speaking, and they might say, you know what, well, I don't feel comfortable with this, or I don't know that. And so what I do is, based off of what I know about that individual that's going to interview them, prepare them and coach them, so that way that they will feel comfortable for the job interview. They will feel confident in what they're speaking about. So it could be, hey, well, you know your job, you are an expert in that area. So it shouldn't be to where you are afraid to speak about what you already know. Letting them know that that person that you're interviewing with is just a human, just as you are. So they're no better, they're no different. Um, you just speak your truth, and I always tell people to be themselves, and just pretty much coaching. That's what a coach does. When we think about
Yeah.
this weekend, people are going to be watching today, for example, people are going to be watching the slam dunk contest. They're going to be watching tomorrow the all-star game.
Yeah.
Well, the coach of those teams is a leader. They're the leader of that team. Their job is to bring all of those players together, and to coach them into whatever play they're going to run next, whatever the vision is. So, hey, this is the move that you're going to make next. This is what you're going to do. And the common goal is that win, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing when you're running an organization, or if you are mentoring someone individually, because you're bringing out the best in that person. Because not all the time we don't see, the skills and abilities that we possess. You might see something in me or someone else that maybe I didn't see in myself.
Yes.
And you point out and you say, well, Tesha, I picked up this, and this about you. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know. And then you start talking and speaking on how I can strengthen that, so that I will be a better version of me. And that's what leaders do. You just help develop each other. You help strengthen. You look at what that person already does well. Maybe they do this or that well, and you out more of it. So
Hmm.
that's what I think that um, I was thinking about this maybe a few months ago. Wow, this is really my purpose. I'm put here, we all have a purpose here on this earth. And I think about how people sometimes will send a text or call, and they might say, well, Tesha, do you have a minute for XYZ? Or I want to share this with you. I want you to tell me what you think about this. Or, can you call me? I want to run something by you. And I'll say, okay, but I've always, it's like every position I've had since I've been here, it's been put in a role like that, where I'm charged with, my goal is I have to help to assist somebody, or help to bring out in them certain gifts that they may not have even tapped into, that they all
Wow.
have, because we all have gifts.
We do.
So,
I told you it's a calling on your life. I want to know, if you can please share with us, a group of leaders who are watching, about a time where you've had to really literally bounce back. So it sounds like God has had his hand on you the whole time and it's been peachy clean, but I know that there have to have been some times where you've had to bounce back, because in order for you to speak life back into somebody else the way that you do, it's been spoken into you. Can you just give us an example of a time that you had to bounce back?
yeah, so 2020, last year, we all know that COVID hit, well, they started talking about it in the media in March heavily.
Yep.
Um, and so at that time, I was working, doing this same thing that I'm doing, working for another staffing firm that's really big,
Okay.
and was in a leadership role there, ironically. And we all ended up going remote, working from home. And so my manager put it on my calendar for, it was like an impromptu meeting. And I'm thinking, well, wow, what is it? Because we normally meet on Wednesdays. Why do you put this meeting on here? And had certain people CC'd on the meeting, which were his higher ups.
Wow.
So to me, I'm thinking like, wow, I don't know what this is about, but this wouldn't be normal. So long story short, that meeting was basically for them, the upper management, to let me know, hey, we're sorry, we hate to do it, appreciate all the hard work that you've done, but we have to let you go because of COVID. We can't afford to keep you. So that was a shocker, because you're talking about um, hearing that type of news, and never ever had I been laid off before. I've been working, I told you, since I was
And
16.
16.
And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I was so shocked when they asked, do you have any questions for us? I mean, and it was all on video. So
Oh,
I didn't know what to say. I was just like, well, no, I don't, but thank you. And they were like, well, we're going to send a box. You're going to be able to ship back the equipment, laptop and so forth. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew that, companies were letting people go left and right, right? So, of course, I started looking for jobs. Um, and you know what? Something just clicked. There was one company that reached out to me, Penda, and the guy told me that he said, well, the reason why I reached out to you is because you worked for XYZ company. And he said that he had worked there. And I'm thinking like, wow, he started his own, and so
ah,
and so he said, well, I'm only looking for people who have had 3 or more years, and you've got it. So I knew that I wouldn't have to train you because you came from there, and he knows how the training was because that's where he came from.
yeah.
And so after that, of course, he wasn't able to offer what I was making. And so at that time, I just prayed about it. I kept thinking about it. And it was like God just said to me, just go ahead and start your own. Start your own. You know this industry, you have contacts in it. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
And I did. And so, started out where I was going to partner with someone.
Okay.
And all of that looked good for a minute, but then again, that person said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to commit to this, can't do it. And maybe that was a blessing also, I don't know. And so I just went full force with it, and I put all of the energy and effort into starting this company, um, that all that energy that I would have put into when I was working for this other XYZ company, I put it into mine, and I haven't looked back. And I've been getting clients. And so it's just been a blessing, and been able to bring 2 people onto the team and coaching them and training them so that they can even be better than what I am, because that is what a leader is supposed to be. Leaders don't keep information and hold it hostage.
Ooh,
You
that's
don't,
good.
you just don't do it. Why would you have all that information, and God blessed you with that, and for you to keep it a secret? So no, I don't do that. Um, there's enough out here for all of us, to make it and to be successful. So just bringing them up and training them so that they can, be successful in what they do. Um, whether they stay with me and my company, or whether they go off with their own, so that's
That's
pretty much.
awesome, teacher. I had heard a bishop say one time, when I mentor you, I hate who you are now. What do you think about that statement?
I think with that, It's meaning that I want you to be better than who you are. I want you to be a better version of you. So it's, to me, it's growth, because somebody saw something in you and they're pouring into you, and that's growth. You're growing and you're growing, and it's your job to pour into the next person. It's just like paying it forward. You could be at Starbucks in the line getting some coffee or whatever, and you pull up and you're about to pay, and the cashier tells you, "Oh, Penda," because they know your name because they see
Yeah.
it on your cup. And they tell you, "Oh, you don't have to pay because the person who just drove off just paid." And
Wow.
you're like, "What?" So you pay it forward as well. So that's how I look at it. And you don't hold things in. um, we're all put on this earth to help each other. They always say we're 3 degrees of separation, and if you look at LinkedIn, that's how they model it with
Yeah.
networking, where it's first, second, or third degree. um, so yeah, we should always be reaching back to pull somebody up. We should always be pouring into the next person. We should always challenge somebody to be a better version of themselves, because at the end of the day, you're not competing with somebody else. You're competing against who you were yesterday. And no, but like you mentioned, we're going to have hurdles. I lost my job in 2020, and then I was blessed with this company that same year, later that year.
Wow.
And so, we go through things, but all of that helps to build character.
Yes.
Whatever we go through that is painful, it's helping to build character. You stay steadfast in your faith, you stay firm in that. Um, and you have to have it. Just like that quote, I think it was Dr. King, where it says, you don't have to see the whole staircase, but just take the next step.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's how we have to look at things, and that's all a part of growth.
What do you want people to know, Tesha, about the value and the importance of developing leaders?
I think that a leader, you have to have humility. You have to be humble. You have to have patience in developing leaders, because things are not going to go as you always hope that they will go. You have to have compassion. You got to be a compassionate person, and communicate with people. You need to be open. You need to have integrity when you're talking about helping to develop leaders. And all of that takes work. Leaders need mentors. I've got
Oh,
three,
yeah.
three people that I can pick up the phone and call, because you don't know it all. Nobody knows it all, So you're constantly learning, you're constantly growing and developing, and so you just, like I said, you have show humility. You got to be able to communicate. You have to be able to lead by example. You
Yeah.
got to be able to do the work as well. Roll up your sleeves. A leader doesn't sit at a tower and just point down to people. you know um, and there's many different styles of leadership. You could be a servant leader. You might be a leader that's like performance driven, or a leader that is like a coach, or like a mentor, or a counselor.
Yeah.
So because you're counseling, you're leading people to a vision. Here it is, this higher vision. It's the same thing with a pastor who is a leader, and that person has this vision of their church, and the congregation, you're moving them to that vision. um Same thing. So
I'm gonna have to come back and with my journal because I didn't have my journal right here with me, and because you really dropped a lot of nuggets, I want you to just come back and listen to this for yourself. And for those of you who are watching, I really want you to come back and listen to this with your journal in hand, because Tesha dropped a lot of nuggets for us. And when we talk about being a leader, we're leading people to a vision. Like, God gives the vision to the leader. And so the people who are bucking against that, they either don't fit into the vision or they're not being obedient to it. And so you really, really gave us a lot of wisdom today. And I greatly appreciate you for doing this with me. Can you tell us how we can get connected to you on social media, or if someone is looking to move in a career? I don't know how to explain it correctly. You can do it better than me, to connect with you and professionally in that way. Let them know how to do that as well.
Absolutely. So, Lowry Staffing, we can be reached. Our website is www.lowry, Lowrey, staffing.com. We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn. Um, our contact information, email addresses can be found on the website. And just one last thing that I want to say, a leader doesn't have to be someone with a title. The leader can be someone who is kind of like a head of the family. It could be a grandparent. It can be
Yeah.
parents. Children can be leaders. So
Yes.
we just have to help sharpen irons, sharpen
Sharpens iron.
iron. So that's what we're charged to do. Leaders get out here in our community. So there's a lot that people can do to be a leader and to develop those leadership skills. And I thank you so much for having me. I really do.
You were, we scheduled this, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we did not come up with the declaration, y'all who are watching, until last night. And as we close, I just want to say that this episode is dedicated to my grandmother, Hubert Lee Lewis Pitts. She passed away this morning, and Tesha didn't know that. But I felt like it was important for us to move forward, because when we talk about leadership, as Tesha said so eloquently, anybody can be a leader, and anybody who has the vision that God gave that we're supposed to follow is who we are. And so Tesha develops leaders, and that's what my grandmother did, and that's what grandmothers do. They leave their legacy so that we can walk in it. So it was perfect. Like, God knew what he was doing. It gave a lot of clarity and peace for me, looking forward to this conversation, to hear about how Tesha has been developing leaders since she was 16 years old. And through that, it has now developed a company where she's developing leaders on a whole different level, professionally, people who are like looking to switch careers, or who have even been in the position like she was last year, where she was laid off of a job that she loved, and it was unexpected. So it is perfect. It was just perfect. And so I just really want to encourage all of you who are watching to bounce back. We do this because I want to introduce my friends to my friends, so that we can all do great work in the kingdom. And so as we end this declaration, I am a leader who develops leaders. I want you all to think about what you are doing to develop leaders around you. There's an assignment on your life. Don't let it pass. Thank you for watching, and we love you so much.
Bye. Thank you.